Hey everyone, it's Deborah J. I just wanted to make a little bit of a video on kids astrology and why it's actually really helpful for parents to know their own kids astrology. When I'm doing astrology sessions with people, essentially what they're looking at is who they are, why they're here, what their purpose is, their unique strengths and talents, their weaknesses, their wounds, etc. And when we look at our own chart, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's why I had that experience, because actually it's written in my astrology and I came here to have that experience and it's kind of part of who I am, etc. And I found when I've read charts for parents for their kids, so when parents are looking at their kids' charts, it's been a huge weight to lift off their shoulders. And the reason for that is because I think parents go around and beat themselves up that their child is a particular way, or there's something happened with their child, or, they're being bullied, or they've had a bad experience, or they're quiet, or they are going through a phase where they're into kind of things that are strange or different, or they're different to other kids, or whatever it is. And when we see this in the chart, we realize, as I'm not a parent, but parents realize that actually that is a unique experience for their kid to choose to come into this world to have for themselves. And they realize that as parents, really, they're not doing anything wrong. They're actually just facilitating that particular experience that's already written out in their chart to happen for their kids. And it's hard. It's a hard one, but it's actually also it relieves a lot of stress and guilt and fear and stuff like that as well. I remember one of the first times that I read a child's chart for a parent was actually a friend of mine a few years ago, and her child was very beautiful child, but her child was very much into kind of like, not death, but obsessed with the idea of it and wanting to know more about it and wanting to understand what death was. And it seemed to be a bit of a preoccupation for her. And her mum was really just concerned, like, have I done something? Is there something wrong with my child? And actually what we did was we had a look at her birth chart, and we realised she had a lot of planetary placements in the 8th house. And the 8th house is the house of life, death and rebirth. It's the house of taboo subject. It's the house of sex and the occult and power and things that are hidden and secrets and all this kind of thing. And so when we had a look at her chart, we could easily see that actually it was just part of her experience to go through that. Like, she was naturally going to have a lot of scorpionic, because that's actually one of the houses of Scorpio. She was always going to have that kind of scorpionic experience, or equally, if there's a lot of Pluto, or if there's a sun or moon in Scorpio, or if there's a Scorpio rising, that would all be kind of the similar case, as well as aspects and whatever. That's just one example. But I totally understand where parents feel like, is it something that I did? Is it something that I'm not doing? How can I support and help my child? If you have a child and they're naturally very introverted, and the world is giving them a hard time because they're introverted, it's probably in their chart and part of their experience to overcome that in some way, shape or form. The same can be said with a child who's very serious when they're younger, and they take everything seriously. You can't really have fun with them, and they kind of they seem like an old head on young shoulders. They could be a Capricorn sun or moon, they could be a Capricorn rising, they could have very strong Saturnian placements, or there's lots and lots of different reasons for somebody like that. Generally they're older when they're younger, and they're a lot more fun and lighthearted as they get older, sometimes even more so than some of the other signs. So this is just a little snapshot to show you as parents why it can be really helpful to look at your kids' astrology, to understand them a little bit more. So if you have any questions about your kids' astrology and you're curious to learn more, I do offer 1 hour and 2 hour deep dive sessions looking at their astrology, and you can drop me an email at deborahjsoulnavigation@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Deborah J. Kelly. You can drop a comment below, ask me any questions, book a session, and I'll talk to you then. Take care. Bye.